So I'm going to demo Google Cloud Platform Access Control using Privacera. If you are familiar with Google Cloud Access Controls using IAM, then I'm sure you know that it's a lot of work when you have to share the data between users and also when you have to give access to BigQuery to your users. So what we have done as part of our Privacera platform, as part of Privacera Access Management layer, we have extended our access control to GCS and BigQuery. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to log in as an admin user. Now I will go into the access management layer and I will highlight the resource-based policies for GCS security zone. Now, what I want to highlight for you guys here is that there's this policy called policy number 39, which gives access to a role called GCP Access Limited. And then there is a group called sales is part of this. And there is a user called Amelie is part of the sales group. So let me drill down to roles, GCP Access Limited. It's sales is a group and sales group. And here is a user Amelie. Now this user Amelie can be a data scientist or a BI developer, data engineer. And the job of this data scientist is to take a look on a data set on this particular location, finance underscore data, on a project called GCP Sandbox environment, and the bucket is Priv data. So let's do one thing. I'm going to enable this policy to start with. Let me save this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this URL. One of the things which I want to highlight as part of the Privacera platform, you have access to a feature called File Explorer, where your users can log in using their AD credentials or using single sign-on, and they can look into the data set. So here you can see, I'm logged in as Amelie, and I'm going to go to Priv data, and the location is finance underscore data. I can click on this particular file, and I can see the data. Now, let's say if I want to just download this data, I can click it, and it's downloaded on my desktop. Let me close this. But I want to show you guys that as part of this whole offering of access control, we have built-in auditing. So what I just did, I clicked on the audit tab as a super admin user, and I can see that Emily is trying to access this particular data set. Now, I will go back to that policy, and I just want to remove access on this particular location from this role as part of this demo. And as you know, Emily is part of this role. So I will just go back here and I'm going to try to read this file again, and it will say access denied. And in the same way, if I try to download this file, it will say access denied. Let me close this. And but if you access this on Chrome, then the behavior will be different. But you won't be able to download the data basically. Now let me go back to the audit trail here, and you can see, Emily request on this particular data set is denied. Now I'm going to go back, enable the policy, and save the policy. And let's make sure that Emily can see the data. Perfect. So this is the GCS access control using Privacera Data Access Server. Now let's take a look on the BigQuery access control. So let me close this window. I am going to go to resource policies, BigQuery access, security zone, and there is a policy number 45 I have defined On this particular project, data set name is sales, table is sales data, and so on, and all the columns, and then same role, GCP Access Limited. So I'm going to do here is I'm going to log into SQL Workbench, and Emily user Emily user credentials are already configured. And under the hood, we are using Data Access Server. I have details listed here. So let me close this. I'm going to log in. And now, as you can see my screen, I just connected to the database. So let me just run this select statement. As you can see, user is able to read this, select this data. And if I go back to my, audit trail, I can, see that there's a policy 45, and this user Emily is running this query on this data set. Now let's go to this policy 45. I'm going to disable it. Go back to SQL Workbench. And let's try to run this query again. Now, as this query is running, behind the scenes, it's doing the permission check using Data Access Server as part of Privacera platform. And under the hood, in the Data Access Server, we have a Ranger plugin, and policy check happened, and Emily user does not have access to read this data. As you can see, it's 403 forbidden. Now, if I go back to audit, I can see the denied request. Now, let's say if I go back to the table, and if I enable this particular policy, save it, and I'm going to run this query again. Now Emily can see this data. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and I would love to get on the call, explain to you guys how exactly it works. And if there is interest, I would love to get the platform installed or give you guys access to it. Thank you guys.